Hi, I'm Jen, and I'm a public health nurse specializing in school health. In this video, we're going to be talking about preparing your child for kindergarten. To have the best possible start in school, children need a solid foundation of early language and literacy skills. These are the skills that prepare children to read, write, and use the kind of language that they'll be expected to use in school. Today, I'm meeting with Mo Oshalla, a local speech and language pathologist, to talk about how we can create those family habits that promote our children's speech and language skills. Hi, Mo. Welcome.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. And we know that families are very, very busy these days. So, what kinds of things can caregivers do that are part of their normal everyday routines that will help their kindergartner develop those speech and language skills?
Oh man, busy is an understatement. Families are busy every day throughout history. Um, One thing that we many of us do naturally is we play with our children, but there are specific ways that we can interact with them during play to help enrich their language skills. We pretend play with our kids, any interactive play with our kids, such as board games or even just tossing a ball back and forth. Those sorts of activities give us a chance to describe actions that we're doing, the objects that we're using in that activity, talk about the people that are involved in the activity. And a really important thing is take turns engaging, whether it's with the physical activity itself, or take turns speaking to each other. Some examples of pretend play are pretending you're at a dentist's office, or you're in a shop in the garage, you're fixing a bike or a car. You can talk about so many things as you're doing the activity, which is play, really. Um, a key sort of thing to help children with some of their cognitive skills, which are closely linked to language skills, is include them. It's as simple as including them in chores around the house. Children like to be helpers. That's one thing that we know, and also one thing that we know is that they're going to be expected to be helpers in the classroom. So chores and doing things with an end goal in mind are also important. Play doesn't normally have really an end goal, but chores do. Um, so another chance to talk about what we're doing, the tools that we're using or the objects that we're using, the people involved, another chance for engagement and collaboration, which kids are going to be expected to do when they're in the classroom, either with other kids or with their teachers. It's also from a sort of a thinking development and a reasoning development piece. It gives them a chance to appreciate directions you give them, and also appreciate how to plan in order to reach an end goal. And these are things that are going to be expected, or they're going to be taught and then expected to be seen in the classroom. The next 2 points I want to talk about are singing and reading. I'm going to sort of include them together because some of the activities that we can do, or the things that we can do with children when we sing and we read to them, have very strong links to their literacy skills, their reading and writing skills later on down the road. So singing is a normal part of many families' lives. Music is a part of our lives, part of life for many of us. And I'm really hoping that for many, if not all of us, reading is also a part of our daily routine. Within those two activities, we can do some very specific things to help with their later reading skills. Speech and language is melodic. There are beats, there are harmonies, there are tones going up and down. We have syllables in our words. We have several words in a sentence or in a lyric. And when we do things like clap the words in a sentence, in a book or in a song, clap a syllable or clap syllables in a long word like elephant. When we do things like, hey, the word sun, look at that sun. What's the first sound in the word sun? And we're not teaching letters. I'm going to make a very distinct point about that. We're teaching sounds, or being able to distinguish and identify sounds. This sort of wordplay and sound play, technically it's called phonological awareness, but more commonly known as phonics. More people will know that term, where we're playing with the sounds of our language, either when we're doing it in song, because it's natural to clap to a beat, when we're doing it when we're reading a book that has rhymes, rhyming is another part of phonological awareness. When we're doing those things and playing with sounds and playing with the distinct features of language and speech, we are setting the building blocks for literacy skills just a few months down the road when they really start teaching those skills in school. The next point is something that we can do with our behaviors, with ourselves as parents when we're interacting with our kids, is in order to help their expressive language skills evolve, is to slow ourselves down and to give our kids an opportunity to say what's on their minds in the way that they know, in the best way that they know how. There are gonna be huge leaps in the development of concepts, and they're going to be more abstract, but kids may not have, while they may have the thinking skills, they may not have yet developed the language skills in order to express those concepts that they're learning at a really fast rate. So we need to give them a little bit of time to get what they need to get out in order to continue the interaction. The next point I wanted to talk about is how we can enrich our children's capability to express and describe to us and narrate about their day by us narrating in rich ways about our day and our experiences, because children aren't going to get the words that they need unless they get them from their caregivers, really first and foremost, because we spend the most time with them. So unless we are sharing our experiences and using rich vocabulary and descriptors and talking about people and objects and places that we've been, children won't have that. So we need to also be expressive and spend time expressing to our kids or narrating to our kids our day. And finally, a really important, and I think this is really important to be honest, is to socialize our kids and have them spend time with other children prior to going into a classroom if they haven't had those opportunities, because they're going to be immersed with other kids, with new teachers, and they need to have some sort of understanding or previous experience of what it's like to engage and to socialize with other kids, because there will be sort of unwritten social expectations of children, from each other, and also there will be social expectations for either politeness or exchange or courtesy, those sorts of things. From the teachers as well. They will expect that. So if we give kids an opportunity to be around other kids and larger groups, such as groups at early on, or even at the park, at a busy park, at the splash pad, or at Pinafore, for example, here in St. Thomas, playing on the swings amongst other kids, then those sorts of unwritten social engagement rules, in addition to, of course, language, will come into play.
Thank you so much for that, Mo. Really, really good, excellent practical tips for caregivers. So thank you so much for your time with us today. I'm sure we could talk much longer than we did, but hoping that families do find this information helpful. So thank you again. And for more information on your child's speech and language development, be sure to check out our kindergarten resources on our website. You can also speak with a speech and language pathologist or your local healthcare provider.